everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a brand new 5-season rebuild, this time with the Hammers, West Ham United. Now the reason for doing this is I think this season in real life, West Ham have had a bit of an up and down ride. They've been there or thereabouts, but there's been a few things I think going on in the background, a little bit of discontent with David Moyes being manager, who I believe at the time of recording this, he's said that he will not sign another contract and will leave at the end of the season, so that leaves the manager's spot vacant, which I think is a good reason to do a rebuild anyway. But I also think they're a club that are underachieving massively, especially with the talent that you've got with Mohamed Kudus, Jared Bowen, Thomas Souček, Paquetá. I think they've got some really good players in there. James Ward-Prowse being another one. And also, obviously, the cat kicker, Kurt Zuma, who, putting that to one side, is actually a fairly decent centre-back. And I think they are underachieving, so that's one of the reasons why I want to do this rebuild. Now, there's going to be no rules or stipulations. This is just going to be a standard rebuild, bringing in players that I think will strengthen the squad. I'll show you the tactics, the financials and all that sort of stuff. So let's go straight into it. Financially wise, 16 million left in the transfer budget. There is a little bit of net debt, but I'm quite confident I can get that after the 5 seasons completely clear. Transfer wise, I don't think I brought in too many players besides a couple of youngsters more than anything else, where I thought things needed strengthening. So hang on, I'm going to get this date order right. Here we go. So the first player I brought in was another right back. I thought that was a slightly weak point for West Ham, so I brought in Festi Eboseli, a player I've never bought in this game before. Didn't realise he was Irish either, or could play for Ireland. But I also didn't realise that he was actually part of the Derby Academy. They signed him from Bray Wanderers, and he went on a free transfer to Udinese. It's a weird roundabout trip. But I brought him in for a fairly decent price, 15 million. Really wicked pace and good strength as well for a right back. So I'm optimistic that he's going to turn out to be a really, really good player. He just needs to work on his mentals a little bit. And another player who I did bring in, but I'm just waiting for a work permit on, is this chap, Benjamin Kramashi, who I have signed on a previous rebuild that I did and turns out to be an absolute superstar. 18 years old, box-to-box midfielder. I think this kid could be really, really good. He does have a slight issue with injuries, but I think it'll be okay. And he is classed as a perfectionist, hard-working midfielder, and he is a wonder kid on the game, so keep an eye out for him. But also, I don't think... Did I sell anybody? No, only a couple of loans, so no movements really, because at the start of the game I didn't have that much money. I think it's about 29 million in the transfer budget, and that's 16 million. Well, that's going to go as soon as that Kremeshi deal goes through. I did sort out the staffing situation. I've brought in a new head of youth development. I brought in a new assistant manager, Pablo Sanz. I brought in a couple of other coaches. I kept a few. I brought in a lot more scouts. I've stacked this out. Admittedly, it's still not the best in the Premier League, but it's something I will work on during this rebuild because I think that helps a hell of a lot in the background. But if we have a look at the squad-wise, we're pretty strong. Fabianski, Areola as the goalkeepers, Agard, Mavropanos, Agbona, Zuma, Johnson, Soufal, Eboseli. Edson Alvarez is a monster on this game. Emerson and Creswell as left backs, Souček, Ward-Prowse, Calvin Phillips on loan from Man City, Paquetá, Kudus, Antonio, Bowen, Cornet, Ings, and youngster Divan Mubama. Never heard of him, but he's one that's come through the youth system and actually fairly decent. So you never know, he may get some game time this summer. So bringing in Benjamin Kramashi, we'll stack it out, and it's a pretty strong squad. Tactically wise, I've gone for something a little bit different. 2 defensive midfielders, box-to-box midfielder, and instead of having an inside forward, because we don't have anybody who I would consider to be a right-footed inside forward, how I like to play that system, I moved that into this position. Instead of having him over here, I moved him into an attacking midfield position. Kudus will hopefully be out on that side. So if we have a look at a pick without restriction, best 11. Oh, sorry, it's going to be Bowen, Kudus there, Ward-Prowse, Phillips, Alvarez. No room for Paquetá, which is quite surprising. Ings up front, Sufal, Zuma, Agard, Emerson, and Areola as the team, which I think is a pretty strong side. Scheduling wise, I haven't played any games. I'm going to simulate the season right from this point to see how we get on. We are in Europa League, I believe, but that draw hasn't happened yet. Yeah, because we've got the Carabao Cup third round to be decided. So we've got Europe, we've got the domestic cups, we've got a reasonably strong squad. I think realistically wise, I am looking for probably consolidation in the Europa League spots. I think that is a realistic target for West Ham, or it should have been for this season in real life, and I think it's a realistic target for this first season of the rebuild. So come join me once I've simulated. Let's see how this goes. Oh my god, I did not expect this at all. West Ham are Premier League champions in the first season of asking. That is incredible for the size of the squad. And okay, the starting 11 is a talented squad, but I'm stunned. I am absolutely stunned. I did not expect this in the slightest. But there we are. We are in the Champions League. We are Premier League champions ahead of Villa, Liverpool and City. Sadly, Forest and Everton both dropped down into the Championship because of their points deductions and they couldn't rescue themselves. But I really don't care because we just won the Premier League. Premier League champions. I'm going to say it again, Premier League champions in the first season. I'm going to have to review what my targets are for the next 4 seasons of this rebuild because I did not expect that at all. Let's have a look at the other competitions. Quarter-final of the FA Cup, third round of the Carabao, and the last 16 of the Europa League. I'm more than happy with that. That is incredible. I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned. Let's have a look at the squad, see how we did. So goals-wise, 18 from Kudus, 14 from Bowen, 14 from Ings, Paquetá with 11, Zuma with 9. Zuma, actually, to be fair, okay, he might be a cat kicker, but he's an absolute beast on this game. I've never used him before, but 20 strength and 18 jumping reach is ridiculous for a centre-back. Antonio's a little unhappy because he hasn't started too many games. 20 assists from the assist king himself, James Ward-Prowse. He's a great player on this game. Even Kramashi, he didn't play too many games, but when he did, he had a good average rating. Who was the other player that I brought in? Eberselli didn't play too many games, so obviously somebody started ahead of him, but he's okay with that. I honestly don't know how that's happened. I really don't. If I pick the sort of the best 11, this is how it looks. Bowen up front, Kudus, Paquetá, Ward-Prowse, Phillips, and Alvarez. Phillips, by the way, really good this season. Really good. Johnson, Zuma, Agard, Emerson, and Areola. That's... You boys have just won the Premier League. I can't. I'm stunned by that. Is it something about this formation? Is it something about the team? Is it a pure fluke? Well, obviously it's a pure fluke. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this for 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons on the bounce. Because you're going to have the likes of Man City and Liverpool, United, Chelsea, Arsenal all bouncing back very, very quickly. Speaking of which, Arsenal and United... Alright. This is amazing. Financially wise, that should really help us. Got a transfer budget of 54. Okay, that's not too bad. Debts and loans is up to 61, which is weird, but that will, the Champions League money alone will help for that. Overall balance is very, very good. The club vision. How is that only a B? I've just won the Premier League. Wow. That should be like A+. I don't get it. Anyway, that's the end of the first season. I am utterly bamboozled by what's happened there, and please join me for season number 2, 3, and 4 when they come out. This is going to be an interesting ride. I can just see it now. This is going to be a brilliant rebuild. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. I am trying to push for the sub count, so please subscribe. I think I checked the other day, and most people that are watching, I think it's about 75% aren't subscribed. Even if I get 10% of those as subscriptions, it will really, really help. Leave a comment down below. I want to interact with you guys. I want to have a chat. See what you think of the rebuilds, any suggestions, any ideas. Please do leave a comment. Thank you very much for watching the video. Please tune in for episode number 2. I'll see you then. Ta-ra.